Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about strings, which is a very important piece when we're coding with JavaScript. Strings are text values that can contain letters, numbers, symbols, and punctuation. So something like this would be considered a string in JavaScript, but not quite yet. First, we have to surround this piece of information around single quotes or double quotes. Both will work the same way. Now I can grab this string and assign it to a variable or to a constant in this case. So now message holds that information, that piece of information, welcome to 2022, which is a string, and then we can start looking into what comes built in JavaScript for us to use. One interesting thing is that when you do message dot, you can see properties and methods that are available to you here, which is quite interesting because if this is a primitive, how can you have properties and methods available for you? So the answer is this. When you declare a string like this is called a literal string. But you can also declare it via an object. So if I do this, I would also get a string. So you can see that both another and message has those properties and methods available, and that's because JavaScript will treat this literal string as if it were an object, and therefore will make all the properties and methods available in the string object available for you. So, but normally we use it as a literal string in this way. So we have a bunch of properties and methods we can look into. So let's console.log this message. Let me save. Welcome to 2022. So one useful property for strings in JavaScript is the property length. This property will basically return the number of positions you have inside that string, the number of characters you have inside that string. So that's normally quite useful. Another method that you can use that's available for you in the string is the toUpperCase method. So if you call this method, it will make the whole string uppercase. You can also call toLowerCase, and it will do the opposite, as you could expect. You could also do things like, let's say this string has spaces around it. So if you print it like this, you'll see that it keeps those spaces, right? But if you call a method called trim then those spaces will be gone. And sometimes it's quite useful to do that. Let me see, another very important method would be the substring, where you can pass an initial position. Let me remove these spaces here. So you can pass, each letter in your string will be in one position, will relate itself to one position. So starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So let's say I want to print come to my console. So I would start at 0, 1, 2, 3, the first index position that I want to be printed. If I were to only enter that first parameter and save, what it does is that it will print from that position on until the end. If I pass a second parameter, then that would be my end position. So if I want to print up to here, so 3, 4, 5, 6, but look what happened. The E is left out, right? So the second parameter here will always be the position you want plus 1. So that's how you get com printed to your console. You can also do things like char@, show me what is in the position 3, and I think we are going to see a C printed into our console. Something that's not super common to see, but you can also use the same syntax we have to access a position within an array to access that position within the string. So if you do something like that, you will also get the same result. But this syntax is usually used for arrays. People tend to do char@ for strings, but you can feel free to use both ways. It works exactly the same. Another interesting method that sometimes is useful is the repeat method. So the repeat method will basically do what its name suggests. It will print that string repeatedly, right? So 3 times in this case. So if I print this, I have welcome to, welcome to, welcome to 3 times. Sometimes it can also be useful. Another thing that we can do with the strings is the method split. So the method split takes one parameter, and that parameter is what within your string will be the delimiter, right? So what JavaScript will use to split the string. So if I pass empty, it will spit out an array where each position of the array is one letter in your string, like this. If I want to break that string by the word to, I can just pass it here. It will break the string into welcome 2022, but you see you lose whatever you pass as a parameter. Okay, I could also use an empty space. Then I would have all three words. Let's talk about comparisons. a very important thing when you're talking about JavaScript in general. So let's do here, let a equals a, let b, you guessed it, equals b. Now I'm going to do if a minus b, I want to print console.log a plus is less, and I'm gonna put a space here, is less than b. Okay. Else, if a greater than b, I want to do a is greater than b. All right. Else, let's print a and b are equal. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I get a is less than b. Okay, a is less than b. The reason being a is in a lesser position than b in the alphabet, right? So the cool thing here is that we can use the greater than, the less than signs that we usually in other languages can use only for numbers. Now we can use it for strings. So if I invert this here, you'll see a is greater than b. It's taking a little a while here. I'm not sure why. B is greater than a. Cool. So this is comparison. Let's move on to some other fun stuff you can do with strings. So let's say we do let s1 2 plus 2, which is a string, right? But I can also do s2 equals new string and pass here 2 plus 2. Okay, so this, as I was telling you before, this is the literal way to declare a string. This is the object way to declare a string. Both cases, they are pretty much treated the same way by JavaScript, but here is one example where these two ways of declaring the string differ within JavaScript. So you have to be a bit careful not to get unexpected behavior. So let me do here, for example, eval. Eval is a function that will treat whatever you pass in as code, right? So if I pass s1, it will execute the string, right? It will treat the string 2 plus 2 as code and will execute that code displaying 4. Okay, but if I do that with the s2, it will behave slightly different and treat the s2 as an object and show you the content of that object. So this is just for you to be aware that, you know, most of the time those two ways of declaring strings are treated the same way, but sometimes it's not the case. Another important thing that we can talk about here is called scape sequences. So let's say I have my message here again, right? Welcome to, okay. I'll console log this for us to see what's going to happen. So let's say I want to, for some reason, put a special character inside this string, which is double quote, right? I want to surround 2 with double quotes. So because I started this string with double quotes, then the JavaScript compiler will find it strange that you're ending this string, that you're starting a new command with 2, right? So it will not recognize it. This string would actually be closing the first piece of the first part of the string, and then, you know, reading, trying to evaluate 2, and it doesn't make sense to JavaScript. You start getting an error, right? So what we can do to fix this, we have 2 options here. We can either escape this character, both of them, right? So that we would get the double quotes in our message. But we also can, so there you go, it's taking a little while. So another option would be to surround this string with single quote, right? So this would also work. The compiler would not complain about that. Now, the same thing goes for, the same thing goes for the single quote. So if we want to see single quotes being printed inside the string that was surrounded by single quotes, it will not work also, and you have to escape that that character. There are many other scapegoats. So let's say I want the year to be printed in the next line. I can do /n for a new line, and you will see that space 2022 will be printed in the next line. If I want to see a slash being printed, I can escape another slash, and you will see the slash in the string as well. So when I will show you guys where to go to read the documentation on strings, and you will see the full list of escape sequences there. Okay, so one last thing I want to show you guys is this long literal strings. So sometimes in your code you need to make this string really big, right? So you can what you can do, so like if you just break it here and put something else, it would not recognize the second piece of the string. But if I were to put the plus sign here, then it will concatenate both. Something that you can also do is to use a slash at the end of the first piece, and it would do the same, but it would also concatenate the empty spaces that we have right here. Okay, so that's it, guys. I would like just to share with you the MDN page where you can go read on strings. As you can see here, there are tons of things that you can do with a string. So bookmark this page whenever you need to do something with a string. You can always come here and check the documentation. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Until next time.